Close your eyes for a moment. Picture this: you're on the highway, windows down, maybe singing along to your favorite song. Just another day. Then, out of nowhere, a car swerves, aggressive, terrifyingly close. Your heart jumps. You instinctively honk, a simple warning. But what if that simple honk unleashed a monster? What if that driver, fueled by an inexplicable, venomous rage, then chased you, trapped you, and started smashing your car with a metal pipe while you sat helpless inside? This isn't a scene from a horror movie. This was Nathaniel's reality, for countless innocent people. And this is the chilling true story of how a reign of terror, spanning decades, was finally brought down by an unlikely alliance. Get ready, because this is going to ignite your sense of justice. If you've ever felt that gut-wrenching frustration of seeing a truly terrible person get away with their cruelty, if you've ever yearned for the scales of justice to finally tip, then you are in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments if you've ever witnessed an act of unhinged road rage. Because what you're about to hear is one of the most satisfying tales of collective power and retribution you'll ever encounter. It all began, for the latest victims, in the most mundane of places, a bustling California shopping center in 2023. A young couple, just going about their day, perhaps sharing a laugh, perhaps holding hands as they walked to their car. They had no idea they were about to become targets. We don't know what tiny, insignificant trigger set Nathaniel off that day. A perceived slight? A parking spot? With Nathaniel, it hardly mattered. His rage was a tightly coiled spring, always ready to snap. He saw them. And something inside him clicked. He followed. Not just casually, but with a predatory intensity. Imagine the dawning horror in that couple's eyes as they realized they weren't just being followed, but hunted. Every turn, every lane change, Nathaniel was there, a dark shadow clinging to their rear bumper. The highway, usually a path to freedom, became a trap. Their hearts must have pounded against their ribs as the pursuit escalated, Nathaniel's vehicle becoming an instrument of intimidation. And then, the moment of pure terror. Traffic bottlenecked. They were stuck. Immovable. And Nathaniel, the hunter, seized his chance. He burst from his car, not with words, but with a chilling, glinting length of metal in his hand. A pipe. The sickening sound that followed, metal against glass, violent thuds against the car's body, it wasn't just property damage. It was an assault. A raw, terrifying violation of their safety, their peace of mind. But Nathaniel, in his blinded fury, made a critical mistake. Someone was watching. A bystander, with a dashcam rolling, captured every horrifying frame. And when Nathaniel's eyes, darting with a killer's instinct, caught sight of that recording, his rage found a new, immediate target. Without hesitation, he sideswiped the bystander's truck, a desperate, reckless move to silence the witness. He then cut off the truck, blocking it dead in its tracks. And then, the chilling replay, the pipe came out again, smashing against the innocent bystander's vehicle. Nathaniel was a force of pure, destructive chaos, and for years, he'd gotten away with it. This is where our story takes its twist. Because that dashcam footage, raw and visceral, didn't stay on a hard drive. It exploded online. And it caught the attention of someone with a very particular set of skills, a TikTok influencer named Tizzy. Now, Tizzy isn't your average viral sensation. With over 7 million followers, he'd built his platform on one powerful principle: holding the truly awful accountable. He was the digital sheriff, shining a brutal spotlight on problematic individuals. And when he saw Nathaniel's rampage, he knew this wasn't just another viral clip. This was a mission. Tizzy posted the footage, and the internet, that vast, unpredictable beast, roared to life. But it wasn't just outrage that flooded the comments. It was something far more significant. Victims. They started to emerge from the shadows, a trickle that quickly became a torrent. Their stories were eerily, chillingly similar. Road rage. Assaults. Unprovoked violence. And here's the brutal truth, the twist that changed everything: this wasn't a new phenomenon. It wasn't a single, isolated meltdown. Nathaniel had been doing this for over 20 years. Across 9 different states. Can you imagine that? 2 decades of terror, leaving a trail of traumatized strangers in his wake. Law enforcement had tried, but Nathaniel was a ghost, a master of evasion. He'd remove his license plates, wear masks, and when the heat got too close, he'd simply vanish, fleeing across state lines, dissolving into a new city, leaving his victims feeling isolated, powerless, and unheard. There were even dark whispers of him being involved in drug dealing, specifically illegal steroids, a potential explanation, though certainly not an excuse, for the volatile cocktail of aggression that seemed to simmer beneath his skin. This wasn't just a road rage incident. This was a pattern, a life, built on terror. And for 20 years, no one could stop him. Until now. Tizzy understood the fear. These victims had lived with the trauma, many too terrified to come forward, fearing Nathaniel's retaliation. So, Tizzy offered a lifeline. He would act as their shield. Their identities would remain anonymous, protected, while he passed their information, their precious clues, directly to the authorities. This was the turning point. This promise of anonymity, of collective strength, finally broke through the wall of fear. And it worked. 3 more individuals, armed with Nathaniel's full name, with irrefutable evidence, stepped forward. Tizzy, with a grim satisfaction, handed it all over to the police. The net, so elusive for 2 decades, was finally, irrevocably closing. And for the first time in what felt like forever, Nathaniel was arrested. The monster was caught. Justice, a word so often whispered in hope, seemed to have finally arrived. Nathaniel was sentenced to 5 years in prison. 5 years. A sigh of relief swept through the victims. But the American justice system, for all its intentions, sometimes fails. Due to overcrowding, Nathaniel was released in less than a year. Less than a year. Can you feel the cold dread that must have washed over those he terrorized? The nightmare wasn't over. And where did he go? To Hawaii. A beautiful, serene paradise that was about to experience its own brush with his darkness. 2 years later, in 2025, Nathaniel, now 39, proved that some monsters never truly change. He nearly plowed into a car where a mother was patiently, lovingly, teaching her daughter to parallel park. A simple, everyday scene. The teen, startled, cried out, "Slow down." A natural reaction from a frightened young driver. But for Nathaniel, it was an invitation to violence. He burst from his car, his face a mask of contorted fury, and without a moment's hesitation, he punched that teen girl in the face. Her mother, seeing her child assaulted, rushed to intervene, only to be met with Nathaniel's brutal fist as well. But this time, things were different. This mother, battered but unbroken, wasn't letting him disappear into the shadows. She called the police. And Nathaniel, the seemingly untouchable, the serial aggressor, was arrested once more. This final, heinous act, committed while on parole, sealed his fate. He was sent back to prison. The walls of the prison, once a temporary inconvenience, now became his inescapable reality. But the truly visceral, karmic payoff, the ultimate revenge for the decades of terror he inflicted, wasn't just the bars. It came from within. Nathaniel, the man who reveled in physical intimidation, the man who used a metal pipe as an extension of his own violent will, finally met his match inside. He got into a fight with other inmates. The details of that fight are scarce, perhaps intentionally. But the outcome? Crystal clear. Nathaniel, the aggressor, the bully, the one who always dished out the pain, was beaten. Badly. The man who had terrified families, punched women and children, now lay broken. He required hospital treatment, a stark, undeniable consequence of his actions. Imagine him, lying there, bruised and battered, the hunter now the hunted. The fear he instilled, the pain he caused, the sheer terror he spread, it all came back to him, not from a court, not from the police, but from the brutal, unyielding environment he created for himself. It was raw. It was brutal. And for every single victim he terrorized, it was, for lack of a better word, deeply, profoundly satisfying. The road rage monster, who had haunted so many, finally faced a reckoning he could not escape. The cycle of violence, for him, was finally, violently broken. Nathaniel's story is a chilling reminder that truly awful actions always have consequences, even if justice takes its own circuitous path. It's a testament to the power of collective action, the digital age's ability to shine a light on darkness, and the unexpected ways accountability can finally, truly be found. Sometimes, the universe, or a viral TikTok, has a truly remarkable way of balancing the scales. If this story of unhinged rage and ultimate justice gave you the chills, then you know what to do. Smash that like button and tell us in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of revenge or karma you've ever witnessed or heard about? We want to hear your stories. And of course, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell for more emotionally charged, true crime stories just like this one. You won't want to miss our next deep dive into the dark side of humanity, and the relentless pursuit of justice.